Hello, welcome back. Welcome back to my icon corner. This is Young Penitent, July 4th edition. I've got my American flag hat on just to show you my patriotic side. It's good. It's okay to love your country. Even though America does a lot of things on the international community, they cause a lot of problems in the world. It's still okay to love your country despite all the evil things that it might do. I don't think I'm going to wear this the whole time. It's kind of covering up my pretty face. But I just wanted to show you my patriotic side. So welcome back. Okay. So today, I have as a topic reconciliation, an important thing, a skill, I would say, an important skill for Christians to learn how to be reconciled with your enemies. But before I do that, as always, I'd like to do a little bit of housekeeping. So first of all, I have made my album available for a free download. So the album's old. It's like 10 years old. There's a few things I'd like to change about it. The recording quality maybe wasn't the best. I was working with, some rudimentary tools at the time. And if I could do it again, I'm sure the product would be a little bit better. But I still think the album's worth listening to. And if you want to download the whole thing, you can go over to bandcamp.com. And I've made the album available for free download. So you just go to bandcamp.com, search Young Penitent, and it'll show up. Click on the album and click buy album. But you don't have to buy it. It'll say enter the amount of money. Just enter a 0. And it will, and then press the button and it'll say, do you want to make a donation? You don't even have to make a donation. It asks for a tip. But you just click download instead. It should take you to where you need to go to download the album. So I hope you're able to figure that out. If you've been curious to listen to the album in its entirety, it's there. So, and a little bit more that I want to say before we get to our topic. I'd like to show my appreciation to my listeners. I'm glad that you're here with me. I'm getting about maybe 50 views per stream, and this is fine. This is good. It's not so much about the numbers for me. I like to put out quality rather than try to get quantity. But I'm used to getting, when I was put out my music videos, I'm used to getting like over 1,000 views. My top video, my Seraphim Rose music video, has over 6,000 views. And I'm not sure how that happened. Like I said in the last stream, I wasn't really promoting it or anything. I think it just was a word of mouth. It just kind of spread like wildfire somehow. A couple people shared it. And that's how it works. You got to share these things. I don't really like to self-promote, but I do a little bit. I drop it in a few chats. But if you could help me by maybe sharing this video with one person or if you have a Telegram chat room that you like to go to that I might not know about, you can drop one of my, maybe pick your favorite stream I've done and drop it in there to promote it for me. What I really need is an army of autists to go out there and share and, like the video. But you don't have to do this. You could, if you want, you can just watch. I'm not asking too much of you. I just, like I said, I'm glad that you're here. I did in one of my previous videos, I specifically asked people, I said, click the like button. I made a point to ask, and that video actually I don't think it got any likes. So maybe the audiences don't like to be told what to do. I don't know. Maybe I'm sort of just figuring this out, but Apparently the likes help and sharing it with other people. But this is actually, I like doing this. I like the live streams. This is actually easier than doing a musical performance. So when I was back when, I'm sort of transitioning away from the rap music, I think, but back when I was promoting that, and I was actually doing some live performances, and I would go out and I'd talk to local, it was usually a coffee shop, and I'd say, hey, can I use your venue to put on a performance? And I did this like 4 or 5 times. And you have to go out, you have to find a place, you have to get a poster, put it in the newspaper, promote it on Facebook, ask everybody to come. It's a whole ordeal. You have to put all this work in just to get to the performance. And the thing about the performance was, I mean, it was fun. It was the time of my life. I really enjoy performing. Live performance is great. Don't get me wrong, but it was a lot of work. And actually the part of the performance I liked the best was just talking to the audience, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm just simply talking to an audience. And you might not be listening live. There's someone listening right now, apparently it says in the corner, but people will watch it after the video is live. And like I said, I've been getting up to 50 views, and that's more than my average concert was. Usually in the concert, maybe 20 people would show up. So you do all that work and you get 20 people, it was just it was too much of a hassle almost. But what I liked the most was talking to the audience, which is what I get to do here. I get to just talk to people. And I didn't even really like performing the songs that much, that wasn't even my favorite part about it. But I like the YouTube setup here because all I have to do is go to YouTube, and you could do this too if you wanted to create your own show, your own channel. You just go up into the corner and they got this button that says go live, and you just press it. And it's really doesn't take a lot of setup. I'm here. I tilt my desk to the. Normally my desk isn't pointing towards the icon corner; it's kind of pointing out there into the room. But my room's usually a little bit messy, while my icon corner is always neat and tidy. So I don't really want to show you a messy room. So that's why I got you here in my icon corner with me. So I'm having fun here. I've always wanted to be a public speaker. The first time I had a chance to speak in public, I was in high school. I was a senior in high school, and I spoke before a large audience, and I made them laugh. And it felt good. It feels good. I don't know if you've ever had that experience, but some of you maybe have. Maybe you were an actor. You went to drama or something like that, or maybe you have been a musician yourself, or you've done some sort of public speaking. Anyhow, for some people, I don't know. It's a great feeling. So yeah, and I also figured out what's going on with the chat. Apparently you have to click it. It's not for kids. I had it. My videos were set for kids, and that's why there's no chat. No chats or comments are allowed for videos which are not for kids. Okay, so enough with the intro. Get to the meat. The meat of what I'm talking about today is reconciliation. So we as Christians, we have interactions with other people. We're not just solo entities. We're not just, we're just not one individual in the universe. We have people around us that we all live with. And you might have a family. You might just be with you and your wife, or your wife and your kids. You have relationships with people at work and people at church. And in each one of these instances, it is possible and even likely that there will be offenses. which is what the scripture they term it offenses. And so maybe you will get angry at someone, or someone will get angry at you. And we have to be able to, this is a difficult thing because it takes away all of our peace, and we won't be able to pray. If you're trying to pray to God and you are angry with someone, your prayer will not be heard. So it is imperative that we learn how to reconcile ourselves with our enemies. So you may have, like I said, you may get angry with your wife, or your wife does something and you get upset because of her, or even maybe your supervisor has done something that he said something he probably shouldn't have, which happens quite frequently. Maybe you're even an e-celeb on YouTube and you have some sort of spat with another e-celeb, and that's known to happen. We have to be able to overcome these difficulties and restore peace between us. We can't just let these things drag out because it wears on your soul. And this is a very serious thing. Like I said, your prayer won't be heard if you're angry with somebody. In the scriptures, there were so many quotes from scriptures passing through my head that I had to cut down a few of the ones that I wanted to share. But one of them is, "Let not the sun go down on your wrath." In Platina, the monastery in Northern California, they had a rule that if you were angry with someone else in the monastery, you could not attend services. And it was a very strict rule. So this just shows the seriousness of this. So now how am I going to talk about this? I want to first make an example of how how we have been reconciled to Christ. So it says in Romans 5:10, when we were enemies, we were reconciled to God by the death of his son. So here we were, and we were sinners, and we were offending God. We were the ones that were in the wrong. And God didn't come and say, I demand that you all change your behavior and bow down. I mean, he does want us to bow before him, but he didn't. What he did was he came and he died for us. We were the ones that were in the wrong, and he made the reconciliation. We were offending him, and he reconciled himself to us. All we have to do is believe in him. In the monastic tradition, if one brother offends another, the brother who is offended goes to the offender and he asks him to forgive him. And if that brother will not be reconciled, then the one who has been offended has done his part. He's clear. He can have a clear conscience. It's the other guy's problem at that point. But he doesn't have to be, in this instance where I'm talking about the monastic, he doesn't say, no, I'm not going to, he's the one who did the wrong thing. He has to come and apologize to me. Is that right? I mean, that's what maybe our human, rational minds might think of as justice or something. But no, we have to go and humble ourselves before them. In the pre-communion prayers, again, touching on the seriousness of this, it says, first be reconciled to those that have grieved you, and then come to communion. So we're not even supposed to go to communion if we're at odds with somebody. Now, don't take this too far out of proportion, because sometimes people will say maybe there was some very slight offense, and you might say, oh, I offended somebody, or maybe I did something wrong, and oftentimes you go to someone, you say, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, and they say, what did you do? they won't even realize that you had done anything wrong. So, but it's okay to go and get that burden off of your heart. But if you're kind of worried that maybe you might seem strange to that person by going to him and saying that, you can even just say a prayer. There's a prayer at the prayers before bedtime. You can just say, remit, pardon, forgive, O God, our offenses, voluntary and involuntary, word and deed, and knowledge and ignorance. Forgive us all things, which is a prayer specifically for the offenses that you may have caused with someone else, so that you can even if that person's not there, you can just say a prayer to God. So that's and that way you'll be able to go to bed with a clean conscience. So I wanted to bring up a quote. I'm going to read a quote from the ascetical homilies of Saint Isaac the Syrian. Now, this is a book that is you'll actually see this on many people's bookshelves. People see this and they know it. They know it has a reputation of being an awesome book, and that it is. It's an awesome book. I've read it many times myself. But usually people buy it and they put it on their shelf and they don't read it because it's kind of a difficult text. This book is actually there are in some traditions it's not recommended for laymen to read this book. Better to get at least it's better to have a blessing. I had a blessing from before I began reading this book. I had a blessing. I was actually assigned to read this book. But there's lots of jewels when you read this book. When I start reading this book, I'm like go into another. It's like, when you like reading a fantasy book or something, and you kind of like go into you reading it, and all of a sudden you're in another world in your mind. That's what happens when I read this, but it's not a fantasy, it's real life. It's like you're like entering into another realm. This book just draws you into it. And there are many gems in this book, and I'm going to pull out one and I'm going to read it to you. This is from homily 24, and he says, "There's no prayer so quickly heard as the prayer whereby a man asks to be reconciled with those who are angry with him. For when he charges himself with the offense, this prayer is immediately answered." And I have experience with this. I have done this before, and it's probably like one of the hardest things to do when you're angry with someone and you ask to be reconciled to that person. So you have to be. Prayer is probably the first step that you want to do, and you ask God. You say, "God, reconcile me to the person who is angry with me." That's what I suggest that you do. And I'm sure, if many people out there watching, you probably have someone right now that you're angry with, I imagine. So go and do this. Remember this. Go tonight when you go to your icon corner, say a prayer for that person. Pray for your enemies. This is the hardest thing to do, but your heart has a resistance to doing this. But give it a try, and you'll see miraculous things. You will see yourself reconciled to your enemies. So, I think that's all that I've got to talk about today. So once again, thank you for joining me on my channel, and I'll see you next time.